Hey, welcome to another day of Arizona Wildcats Hoops Talk. This is McKale Madness with Saul Bookman. This is me and my guy, the one, the only, the pride of Tucson, the son of Batavia out in Illinois, Corey Williams. What's up, Corey?
Not much, man. Far too kind. That's a great intro. I love that. I love that.
Hey, listen, I think the best way to get started is, obviously we introduce ourselves. Most of the people here know who I am. Most of the people in Tucson know who you are. But why don't you give them a little background as to why you are the most qualified person probably in the city to talk about U of A hoops?
Well, my background's pretty simple. Batavia, Illinois, All-American, recruited by Lute Olson, served 4 years in the Lute Olson Army, 2 Pac-10 titles, Final Four, had a nice little career overseas, and, been calling college basketball for ESPN last 8 or 9 seasons, I think. So, Wildcats, I live here in Tucson, follow the team closely, and just glad I can get a chance to chop it up with you.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Listen, Erica's already in the chat. We appreciate the squad. Hopefully the other U of A squad will start to show up. But also we want to give a shout out to the guy behind the scenes who will be producing most of these shows, and that is the one, the only Kevin Thomas. What up, Kev? Show him your pretty face. There he is.
Hello. I'm the ones and twos. I am the keys.
There he is. All right. Okay, Corey, let's get into this real quick. First of all, the vibe of this show is simple. It's all about U of A hoops. Men's, women's, doesn't matter. Past, present, future. We're talking all U of A hoops during the college basketball season, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Afterwards, we'll see if we stick around or if we're just going to do this a seasonal thing. It's kind of a TBD, and it's completely determined on your presence as well. So there's that. And then the vibes here. Corey, the vibes are always chill. We're trying to keep it nice and relaxed and, make it nice, easy listening for the folks.
You have to. I mean, basketball is a simple game. Sometimes you can get too far into the weeds. Sometimes you just miss the whole point. Team that scores the most points wins. I keep it real simple.
That is about as simple as it gets. Well, let's get into it. Let's just kind of recap what happened in Wisconsin, an unfortunate loss by U of A in Madison. But there were some things. Listen, I looked at the tape and I looked at exactly what went wrong. There was a lot that went wrong. Let's just get that out of the way. There's a lot that went wrong. And I would say about 90% of it are things that they can clean up. It's just simple things. What was your assessment when you looked at it?
I watched that game twice. The first time I didn't watch the game live because I was traveling, so I went back and watched it. When I saw the final score, I'm thinking, oh, it wasn't a good game. Maybe there was some sloppy play. It's not actually what happened. The game was a lot closer than the final score predicted. That was a game in which Arizona played them even for probably 90% of the game. What ended up happening is Wisconsin hit them with a couple of 6-0, 8-0 runs that they never got back. And that was the difference in the game. The majority of that game, they were trading baskets. They were hanging around. But it was 2, maybe 3 big runs by the Badgers that really gave them the cushion. We're talking about a tied game midway through the second half, and then a couple of runs happened, and Arizona just couldn't respond from this. And when you look at the final score, I think there was a point when they finally tied it up. I think KJ Lewis actually gave them the lead on a layup. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. That was the Arizona team rallying to come back. That run should have been the run to put them up 6 or 7 points. Instead, it was just the run to tie it up, and ultimately they fell apart down the stretch. But not the way a lot of Wildcat fans wanted to see that game unfold. It wasn't a horrible game, but it definitely was a game that I think they want to get back, and a game they could have easily won.
It sounds like the homer in me to sit there and look at Wisconsin and know that we lost, but also say this statement. I did not think that Wisconsin was the more talented team. I didn't think that Wisconsin was, I didn't even think Wisconsin was really necessarily that sharp in terms of like their overall game. I just think that they took advantage of a lot of U of A miscues. And you just talked about the time, right? I actually broke it down. All right. When they tied the game up, because I felt like once they tied the game up, I felt like Wisconsin lost all the momentum. It was all U of A's to take. The very next possession, Wisconsin turns the ball over. You're like, okay, we're in good position. Jaden comes down, drags his pivot foot travel. And then Wisconsin comes down and ADO doesn't fight over a non-existent screen. Basically, he doesn't fight over a screen. It was a flash, and then he dove to the hoop, and ADO was just trailing the whole time. Gave up a 2 because JB loses his man backdoor, and then and when I say JB, I mean Jaden Bradley. So just so you all know, and then after that. U of A gets another 2 seconds in the key, and then Wisconsin, Blackwell takes Bradley, ADO kicks out, and then Amos is wide open for a 3, and that was a 5-point little run, right? And that from that point, it just felt like it was a lot of resistance to try and get back into the game, even though U of A had done what it needed to do to tie the game up. In addition to that, Corey, I will say this. I too, like you, I was trying to watch the game, but my son was playing a football game, so I was trying to, balance both of them. So I couldn't lock in, right? So I knew the officiating was bad because I saw in the first 6 minutes of the game, damn near both teams were already in the bonus. There were some egregious calls in the second half, specifically in push-offs, guys getting thrown into the other that were not called on Arizona or for Arizona, but they were called against Arizona on the other end. And I felt like to that degree, that's where you missed me with the free throw stuff and the referee talk, because 47 free throws, 9-2 free throw advantage in the first 11 minutes of the ball game. Corey, 19-2 is outrageous.
It's outrageous, and I understand, why a lot of people look at that and they say, okay, that wasn't a good look for Arizona basketball. But the reality of it is the Badgers were getting downhill. They were forcing the issue. And a lot of their early fouls were just blocking fouls because you couldn't stay in front of a guy. That's why coaches preach technique. We don't need to be in the bonus with 11 or 12 minutes left in the first half. Stay in front of your man, keep your hands in your pocket, make them make plays. Arizona picked up a lot of cheap fouls. And the other thing is, they were ready to go. They were hyped up. They couldn't wait to play Arizona. They were honoring Final Four teams. It's a huge matchup, probably one of the biggest games of their season early in the season. And the refs were like, okay, this is a powerhouse blue blood team in Arizona. Wisconsin's all hyped up. It was a real tight whistle. And both coaches knew from the very beginning it was going to be a tight whistle. But the play was very sloppy. Both teams out of position all afternoon, all evening defensively, picking up cheap fouls. And you end up with those horrendous free throw numbers that nobody would have expected.
I just wanted to add to Corey's point real quick. You know what the refs don't do? Shove Blackwell and get a tech. That's not their fault. I think it's a lack of composure at some point. If the refs are performing the way the refs are performing, that's to an extent out of your control. Obviously, what Corey was touching on, you could execute better in certain ways, but it's ultimately up here as well. You can't let that take you out of your game and let you get less composed and less crisp with your execution.
The other thing too is Corey, this. You never know what kind of referee crew you're going to get from one given night to the next. And when you're going through the middle of that game, you got about 10 minutes to kind of get the temperature check of what these refs are really on that night, right? And in my opinion, U of A just never adjusted to the intensity that the refs were really calling those whistles. And, and by doing so, just sometimes, hey, if you get beat, sometimes you just got to let them go and get that too, because you getting in the way and KJ picking up his 4th foul with still like half the second half left to go. That hurt Arizona because Wisconsin started to pull away at that point. KJ is a very important piece to the puzzle. So that was the other thing, is you got to learn how to adjust. And again, I think that with this team and the experience that they have, they will adjust as the season goes on. They will learn from this. I don't think it's a little bit different than, to me, what Duke experienced. And listen, Duke's got a roster full of freshmen. Arizona's not in that position. So I think when you're looking at those two in that matchup coming up on Saturday, there's going to be a distinct difference, in my opinion, when you see how Arizona adjusts from one game to the next, especially after a loss.
No question about it. Hostile environment. You've got Arizona across your chest. Everybody's going to be gunning for you. And I'll tell you this, Saul, you don't have 10 minutes to figure out the officials. You realistically got about 2 or 3. You got 3 or 4 trips up and down the floor to figure out what kind of game is going to be called. Are the refs the kind of refs that you can talk to, have a conversation with, or do they blow the whistle and just start walking towards midcourt? If you've got those kind of refs, you got to adjust and let the coaches harass the refs on dead balls, hostile environment, loud crowd. You got to be huddling up every chance you get to communicate and work on the next play. And that's something veteran players already know.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. One other thing too, before we do show the numbers to the game, one other note. And this really bothers me because when I was in Colorado and I was working to become an official, and I got some, I started getting some games. I started getting some JV games, got a couple varsity games. One of the things they taught me as an official in referee school was you're always looking at the defense to try and call a foul in the defense, because not that you're trying to call a foul, but like that's what you're looking at most of the time is how the defense is playing, because they're the ones that are typically going to make the foul, right? Which it's whatever. The second thing was, and this just blew me away, they did not want you to talk to players, like coach them up during the game, right? So for instance, if we're underneath the basket and I see two guys going at it, and maybe, the guy that's defending is throwing, maybe he's extending his arm instead of just using his forearm, right? Like, to me as a referee, and to keep the pace of play, I'm gonna be like, hey, watch the arm, like kind of, I'm not gonna, and then the second or third time, then I'm gonna call it, right? Hey, I told you to watch the arm, and then we move on. Guess what? The next time, a couple times down, he's probably not gonna do that. He's gonna adjust, and then we move on, right? But in college, they don't want them to do that whatsoever. And they didn't want me to do that in high school. But we're talking about high school kids. We're talking about middle school kids playing in tournaments. Like, they got to get coached up at some point on the court too. Like, and in college, it might be a little bit different, but a little leeway to keep the pace of play going is really what I'm getting to. Like, I just did not like the fact that we had so many whistles in this game.
No, it was a lot of whistles, but quite honestly, the referees are trying to just stick to calling the game. It's not our job to teach you the rules of basketball. You guys practice 12, 15 hours a week. Your coaches are supposed to teach you how to post up, how to box out, how to slide, how to play defense. If we get out here during the game and you put that responsibility on our plate of coaching you up, then, or, trying to keep the game going, then you've got a whole nother set of problems, because some refs will do it and some refs won't. How about nobody does it and we just call what we call? Now, flip the coin, you go to the NBA where you got marquee players and the fans have come to see those players. By all means, you're communicating with players. You don't want to give superstars fouls. You want those guys out there for, media value for the fans and all of that. So that's a completely different type of officiating, where they always are talking to the players. You see guys whispering in the refs' ears, pointing out things, and they're trying to keep everybody out there to keep the product as entertaining as possible. But to your point, East Coast refs, completely different than West Coast refs. Pac-12, Pac-10, Big 12, ACC, you're talking about completely different styles. And Arizona's going to see a different style this year in the Big 12.
The only thing I'd argue to your point is that I know there's a lot of people that pay premium prices to see top-level talent in the NBA. I would argue that a lot of people pay premium prices to watch top-level talent in college basketball nowadays too. Just because the NIL money.
Two things. One, to your point, that is true. But if you ever go to an AAU tournament, you quickly realize these kids aren't learning anything. So just because you go to Duke or Arizona doesn't mean you got your technique down. And second thing, first time out the gate, let's get it straight. I'm always right. Your response is, yeah, Dub. I feel you on that. I don't want this pushback. We're not getting off to a good start, Saul.
Oh man, that's funny. Real quick, we'll kind of emphasize the point that U of A did not get off to a good start against Wisconsin by these numbers right here on this graphic. These are by the numbers. Obviously, 103-88 was the final score, 48% field goal percentage. The alarming thing, and that this will be something that we talk about in our trends upcoming, 44% three-pointers, 17% for Arizona. Arizona didn't make a single, or they only made 1 3 after 8 minutes into the game. That's not good. You got to be able to hit the threes in college basketball and in the NBA in order to compete. And that was one of the things that was pretty alarming.
And you got to look at those numbers. 17% from three, and that is directly tied to the 6 assists.
Yes.
3-point shooting is a product of one or two things. You got a guy on your team that cannot be guarded one-on-one. He creates so much. He creates offensive rebounds, and he creates wide open looks for other people. That action, whether it's a ball screen or a big man that requires a double, when you have a dominant offensive player, everybody's percentages go through the roof. When you see 17% and only 6 assists, that lets you know no one was creating anything for anybody. It was just everybody fending for themselves. And a guy like Jaden Bradley, he has the ball in his hand. He's a tremendous athlete. He's going to eat. He's not worried about that. You got Caleb Love, who needs to kind of be set up. He's out there hunting his shot, trying to find threes, but there was no action that created easy looks. Everybody got their looks, ball in hand, one dribble pull up, or going all the way to the rack. That's something that they definitely need to work on and improve.
1,000,000%. Listen, we have the plot. We have the road to the Final Four already mapped out for you. We would love to hear what you think about how the Arizona Wildcats could possibly get back to a Final Four someday after this break. Folks, we talk about the road to the Final Four, but one of the favorite things that I love to do is when I get on the road, I go to a place called Circle K. Corey, ever heard of it?
I'm quite familiar with Circle K.
Big fan, are you?
Many a meal freshman year when I was broke. Get that hot dog and some chips. Circle K, you saved it, brother. No question.
Oh man, I tell you what, man. Yeah, back in the days when times were a little tough, man, I could have sure used a 79-cent Frost or a Polar Pop for sure. You can get yourself one by downloading the Inner Circle app. Inner Circle is a fantastic app. And tomorrow, folks, guess what tomorrow is? 40 cents off a gallon, and you save a little bit more if you have that Inner Circle app, usually 3 or 5 cents as well. So you can save yourself up to almost 50 cents off a gallon tomorrow by going to Circle K. That's for everybody. Hey, Circle K is a convenience store for the people, Corey.
50 cents off a gallon. I might have to get down there.
You gonna fill up the Bentley with that? What are we driving up? The Bentley or what?
No, you got a little Jag, a little light work.
A little light work right here.
What we doing around town, you know.
Oh man, listen. Circle K again, fantastic. They hook you up with drinks too when you sign up for the Inner Circle app. It's just a fantastic app, man. And it's a fantastic convenience store. They're a friend of the program. They've really hooked us up over the years. They try to give back to the community as well. Got a lot of different things that go on. So download the Inner Circle app today by joining the Inner Circle app and downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for more details. All right, Corey. One of my favorite documentaries of all time is the movie Hoop Dreams, the documentary, which you should know very well because it was literally right in your backyard and in Chicago. Cabrini Green in the house. Shout out to Eddie Johnson too. Outside shots every morning, 9 o'clock. And to me, I wanted to use that as the road ahead to figure out what does Arizona need to get back to a Final Four, because in a variety of different ways, they have missed some key pieces that maybe during the season we didn't really recognize or put too much more emphasis on. So let's take a look at our vision board, and we have also tabbed that Hoop Dreams. So let's start off in the far left corner. Obviously, the goal is to cut the nets, which shout out to Lute, RIP, the legend. But let's start off in the left-hand corner. Corey, why don't you take it from here?
Well, first of all, I'm in that movie Hoop Dreams. You know that, right?
Yeah, but Tavy, you in the state championship, right?
I'm in the movie, Marshall.
I gotta go see this. I forgot.
Hey, I didn't know I was in the movie till sophomore year. I was at Arizona. We went to see the movie as a team, and I'm like, wait a minute, we played Marshall in the state tournament. There I go, baseline, getting my buckets and the blocking shots. So I'm in the movie. Never got a check. Arthur Agee, I'm trying to see you. I know you live in Phoenix, so I need that bread. You got to run me that money, bro. I'm in the movie for like a good minute and a half. They beat us in the Elite Eight. Bittersweet game, great time. One of the best seasons of my life. But yeah, Hoop Dreams, great story. Wow. But anyway, you talk about what is it going to take to win 4 games in a row in a tournament. Sounds easy, but it's actually very hard. 4 neutral site games. This is the formula, folks. You gotta have some edge. You got to have some swag, a couple of guys who set the tone mentally. We're talking about neutral site games. We're talking about intense, hostile environments. Everybody's cheering for the Cinderella. Arizona will most likely be the favorite the majority of the games on their schedule. So they're never going to be expected to just show up and do their best. People are going to be trying to knock them off. So you got to have that edge. You got to have somebody with that mentality on your team.
Real quick, before you get back, let's go back there, Kevin. Real quick. If you looked at some people on this team right now, who would who would you define clearly has that edge?
KJ and JB out front. Those are the two guys because they can get the rips, they can get the blocks, they can get the steals, they can get the dunks, and they can talk trash. Those are the guys that got to eat and be dogs and wolves and set the tone for Arizona. Toby's a quiet guy. The European Krivas in the center, he's not going to do that. He's not a rah-rah guy. Those guys have the athleticism and the quickness to really set the tone. You know, that's where it starts. You got to have guys who can make plays, get the crowd hype, get their teammates involved. I will look for those two guys to be fire starters this year for Arizona.
Okay. All right. Next one. Let's go to, you got to have some good bigs.
Man, quality bigs. You know, me and Damon Stoudemire, coach at Georgia Tech, shout out Stod, we always talk about bigs because bigs are the building block of every team. If your bigs don't get it done, nobody gets open looks. Nobody gets threes. If your bigs don't draw attention, then everybody else has to fend for themselves. You've got to have productive bigs to be enforcers, to block shots, to get extra possessions offensively, to get defensive boards. If you don't have bigs, you're not going anywhere in the NCAA tournament, and that's just a fact. You talk about what they mean to a team, you got to have solid bigs for your guards to play complementary basketball.
So I would say this, an early going defensive or just rebounding in general has been a bonus for Arizona. They have out-rebounded every opponent. They are dominating. They're one of the best teams in the country on the offensive glass. Like, that's great. However, physically, when you match up against the good teams and really the athletic teams, that's where my concern starts to lie in terms of Krivas, and moving forward, and Basar moving forward. Like, you got to expose teams like Wisconsin. They could have exposed Wisconsin a little bit more down low in the paint had they had a little bit more consistent big play. And I think that will develop over the course of the season. And this weekend, Corey, is a big opportunity for those guys to be able to show out, because I'm going to talk about some mismatches that nobody's going to want to face. But we'll get to that a little bit later in a second. So, all right, third point.
Third point, shooters. Now, you might as well tag shooters with the bigs because the shooters can't eat if the bigs aren't doing anything. They got to create opportunities for guys on kickouts, on double teams. Your shooters, I was in a situation at Arizona. I always had quality big men. It was like shooting practice. Some of the threes we took back in the day, we were wide open because our bigs commanded so much respect. So having guys that can knock down shots, a good coach, a good team like Duke, they're going to push you to your second or third and sometimes even fourth option. And if you're out there and you can't shoot, then the defense becomes effective. What they're doing works. They're forcing the ball to you and you're missing. That's exactly what the opposing coach wants. One of the biggest games of my career, Final Four against Arkansas, Damon Stoudemire, lottery pick. Khalid Reeves, lottery pick. Corey Williams, we don't care. Leave him open. 4 for 6. 4 for 6. I made them pay. That's your job on a team, especially a team that has Final Four aspirations. We used to say all the time at Arizona, if you can't knock down shots, you at the wrong school. You need to transfer. I mean, this is how we talk to each other in practice. You miss 2 or 3 shots in a row, get up out of here, bro. You're hurting us. You're hurting us.
Alex Dillard.
You got to have shooters. Got to have shooters.
Alex Dillard is still a pain in my ass to this day, by the way. I'm launching those hash mark threes, man. Come on, get out of here with that mess. But hey, listen, I would kind of double down on that, and I would say consistent shooting as well.
Sure.
Because we have shooters. Yeah, they'll chuck them, but we got to make them, obviously, and that's another point. Like Caleb Love is going to play a big role in this as we move forward. And again, we're going to highlight Caleb and talk about some of his strengths and weaknesses as we move forward.
One of the things I'm glad about being here with you tonight is we get to keep it real. And I'm going to tell all the guys out there, high school guys tuning in, whoever, tell somebody what I'm about to say. You're not a shooter unless you're on the opposing coach's scouting report. You can call yourself a shooter.
Facts.
Your teammates can call you a shooter. But if the opposing coach doesn't have it written down on his scouting report, you need to stay in the lab and keep shooting. When a team tells their guys, you get pulled out of the game. If Corey Williams makes a 3 or if Caleb Love hits a 3, you're coming out. He's a qualified shooter. It's a title that is bestowed upon you by the opposition. It's not something you can put on Instagram or Twitter or call yourself. I don't care how many workout videos you post. You ain't a shooter till the opposing coach is worried about you and tells his guys you're a shooter. So that's just a little something from the GED section over here. We keep it real basic for the guys out there.
All right, next topic right here. We have right, defensive stops. Corey, I know you're going to go in on this. Defensive stops, crucial at key points of the game, but not just getting a stop. We're talking about consecutive defensive stops.
You got to put a lid on the rim. If you want to win in the neutral site, maybe the gym is different, the rims are tight, the refs are whatever, but your defense gets off the plane with you. It's the one thing that shows up no matter who has an off night or how crazy the refs are. Okay, fine. Tight game, we're going to D up. We 0 for 6 from 3, we're going to D up. We can't really get in the flow and get up and down the court, we're going to D up. Bring your defense and get stops. You hold a team. If a team goes 6 or 7 possessions with nothing, psychologically, they start to fold. Guys start panicking. Coaches call timeouts. You can force a team into submission just by locking up on the defensive end. And then if you've got a decent amount of talent, I mean, you remember the year Arizona was winning games. I think Nick Johnson was there, Trzaskowski. They were scoring in the 50s. People were only getting 50. They were winning games 55-50 because the defense was crazy. Brandon Ashley, all those guys out there D'ing up. They had guys that love to get after you, and they're like, yeah, we may make shots tonight. We may not, but I can tell you what, you're not going to score nothing, and that's the whole point. So consistent stops, that'll help you on the road, especially in the tournament, hostile environments, neutral site games. Play some good defense.
One of the best defensive teams I've seen at U of A was that team with Nick Johnson, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Aaron Gordon. I mean, it just from top to bottom.
It's no layups. It's no wide open threes. It's nothing. I don't care what you're trying to run. We're not going to let you score. That is an attitude that you guys forge off the court. And then when they throw the ball up, you just get out there and get after people. It's rarely seen, but it's a key if you want to win a championship.
Absolutely. All right. Fifth topic. That will be bread and butter offense. Your go-to plays, your sets that you just know you can milk, and there's not really much the defense can do about it. Because if you're on, you're on. I know you had a lot of those under Lute. Tommy's got some wrinkles up his sleeve. He's got some sets that he feels comfortable with, and that you could tell the players feel comfortable with. The bread and butter is where it's at.
Yeah, and I think Arizona is one of the programs that's had tremendous talent year after year. So when I say bread and butter offense, I'm talking about Saul. You remember college when you was broke and didn't have nothing. We was going to Circle K, getting food. Like bread and butter was the only thing you had in the house, and you made it work. Something that shows up no matter what the opposition does. That's what I'm talking about. Last year, everybody knew the Ballo high-low was money. Either you were going to get a 2-point layup from Ballo or somebody was going to get a wide open 3. You could watch all the film on Arizona you wanted to, but between Zoo and Ballo, it was going to happen. What are you going to give? You're going to give Pella a 3? You're going to give Ballo a layup? Like something is going to take place whether you like it or not. That's what this Arizona team has to fall into. Right now, their best offensive option is just take it to the rim, get it on the rim, and let Toby get the rebound. Because that's the most productive offense that they've had against Wisconsin. So they've got to figure out what's our go-to. Who's the guy that's going to show up and give us one thing, rain or shine? And it's hard, and it's a long journey. They may not have it figured out until after the holidays when conference gets in full swing. But they got to have consistent offense.
Yeah, and that's why I urge people not to panic yet, because college basketball season's 30-plus games. It takes a little while to get into it. And yeah, sure, you would love your team to start off 9-0, 10-0, top 5 in the country, but not every season is going to work out like that. And it doesn't mean that at the end of the season, all hell's going to break loose and you're going to get bounced in the first round. Sometimes it happens, but sometimes, as we saw with the 97 team specifically, they worked themselves through it, found a groove at the right time, and everything just connected, and then you won a national championship. So don't panic. It's okay. The last topic is number 6, athletes. You gotta have some athletes. And Arizona definitely has a couple of those for sure.
This is a no-brainer. Arizona's got tremendous athletes. And to be honest with you, Saul, athleticism covers up for a ton of stuff. Somebody gets beat, another guy flies over and pins it against the glass and starts the fast break. Somebody sloppy with the ball, somebody sticks his hand in, breakaway, throws it ahead for the dunk, crowd goes nuts. Athleticism can solve defensive errors, but the athleticism has to be partnered with intensity. You've got to have intensity. You can't just rely on your athleticism because it's not going to factor in high leverage moments. I think Carter Bryant is one of the most insane athletes I've seen in a long time. But that first game at Wisconsin is above his pay grade. He's a freshman. He never played on that level before. He never heard that kind of a crowd. This is not AAU. And this is not to say he's not going to be a hell of a player, because he definitely is. But I remember getting my toes wet the first time in a real high-level Division I basketball game, and it is nothing like high school. So when you talk about
who's the first person to bust your ass in college?
Oh, man. See, this is the good thing about me. Lute was putting me in at the end of blowouts. So I wasn't really getting no work put on me until like my sophomore year. I started getting minutes, and I remember Lamont Murray gave me some buckets. We played at Cal, Jason Kidd, Brett Berry. I mean, we were loaded with NBA guys in the Pac-10. You know, go Google that for the young viewers out there. Go Google the Pac-10. It's something that happened a long time ago. But anyway, you know, as a freshman, you can have athleticism. You got to have intensity. But Arizona has playmakers. They got guys that can block shots. They got guys that are tremendous athletes. They ratchet up that intensity, and that can be a difference. You always need good athletes if you want to cut down the nets in March.
One of the best athletes we have at the U of A is Caleb Love, and we're going to talk a lot about him after this break. All right, folks, we just talked about, the great stuff at Circle K, but have I told you about Gila River Resorts and Casinos? Probably not. Listen, last year you missed out on a huge, cool event that we did. It was a Suns watch party. However, it was led first by a sneaker kind of showcase by the one, the only, the legend, Mike Bibby, in-house. He brought his collection of shoes because he's a huge shoe guy. Brought his collection of shoes, brought the national championship shoes that he wore the night that they cut down the nets. A bunch of cool stuff that he brought on display, and got to do a meet and greet. You got to sign. He signed autographs, took pictures with people. Like, these are the types of things that make Gila River just a special place, because they like to think a little bit outside the box. We got another watch party coming up for the Suns coming up on December 7th against the Miami Heat, but there's so much to do besides that at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You can get a hotel, stay the night, hit the casino. They got a state-of-the-art auditorium for concerts. I've seen Mike Epps out there. I've seen Ice Cube perform out there. Shout out to Ice Cube on your shirt. And so, like, you got a great opportunity to go out there and just have fun, kick back, and you do you, right? That's what they say. So you can achieve legendary status by doing just that at Gila River Resorts and Casinos by you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. And listen, folks, you can go out to our website, gophnx.com. Click on that events tab, and you're going to see all the events that we do have out there at Gila River. We have road game watch parties for the Arizona Cardinals. We got a couple select Suns games, and who knows, maybe we'll do like an Arizona Wildcats live show with Corey and myself, a McKale Madness show. Maybe we'll do that at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, or maybe we'll come down south, because we should probably go to Tucson and do that.
Yeah.
And, so there you go.
I like the slogan, you do you. I'm going to add to that, you do you within reason. All right.
Within reason.
Don't get out there and mess up the rent money and have your girlfriend put you out. I'm saying, like, you do you. Because I do me in Vegas and in the casinos for about 100, 200. Then I'm looking for the door. But that's just me. But no, great facility, great time. Always have fun out there. Always a
great time for sure. And also, before we do move on, hit that like button. Please hit that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And make sure you go and subscribe to the McKale Madness podcast. It's on its own. It's in its own feed. Just hit that subscribe button. Leave a 5-star review. Tell us how much you like us or that you disagreed with us. But keep it reasonable and professional, because that's all we ask, because that's what we're doing for you. Also, shout out to everybody in the chat right now. I see my guy Mike Luke is in the chat. Justin Spears, Andy. I have seen everybody in here already. Erica Day's been in there. Kobe, longtime follower of the program. JL Roman. Really appreciate everybody stepping up in the chat and taking a listen to our debut episode of McKale Madness. So thank you so much for doing that. All right, let's get to it. Caleb Love, to me, he is I hate to put the weight of the world on Caleb Love, but I'll say this: Caleb Love could make this so much of an easier process if he plays at the level we all know he could play. The problem with Caleb Love is he's going to challenge you from game to game because his consistency can sometimes waver. And we saw that on display the other night against Wisconsin. You can't go for 2 for 13 against a Big Ten team. I don't care who it is, right? You gotta play at a higher level. He was off that night. And the thing that I need to see, I just have to see, Corey, this is a non-negotiable.
Come on.
The first game of the season, I was there live, and I literally tracked this the whole game. I wanted to see after every 3, what did he do? If he hit it, I'm cool with another one. If he missed it, what did he do the next possession? And just about every single time he missed, the very next time, what do you think he did? Took it to the rack. Every single time. Took it to the rack. Took it with aggression. I did not see that against Wisconsin. I thought he was a little too passive against Wisconsin. You've got to force the issue sometimes in terms of physicality and attacking the rim. And I just think that Caleb will sometimes get lost in his own world and kind of lose track of, how much he can benefit for this team athletically at the rim.
Well, first of all, Pastor Saul, you was preaching. I'm with you 100% on everything you were saying. And this, this is the tough part of the deal right here, because I'm going to say some things and people just going to have to understand what I'm about to tell you. We talked about who's shooters and who's not a shooter. Caleb Love is a shooter. There's no question about it. Now let's talk about the psyche of a shooter. When someone identifies you as a shooter, it becomes your identity. And it's hard to be in the mind of a shooter because you start to judge your own success and your own contributions on whether or not you make shots. And a coach's job, and the great coaches do this, and Tommy Lloyd does this all the time, is they coach you to play the complete game. The shot is your biggest weapon, but we need you to play the complete game. Like you said, going to the rack, drawing fouls, getting rebounds. Take their mind off of shooting, because what happens, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm a shooter, therefore I'm only playing good if I'm making shots. So what happens in your subconscious, you start hunting shots. And that is the worst thing you can do. A good coach and a good scouting report is going to try to take away your biggest weapon. Caleb Love will be the number one thing on every team scouting report the entire season. He has to learn to live in that uncomfortable atmosphere. He has to understand, you're not going to let me just come down off a pin down and knock down a 3. You're going to trail me. You're going to double me. You're going to hedge me. You're going to throw the kitchen sink at me. And like Maya Angelou, still I rise. That's what he's got to do. He's got to get there mentally. No pouting, no dropping his chin. Bruh, they're guarding you because you're the man. And you got to find a way to eat. And unfortunately, a lot of my opinion is skewed because I played with killers at U of A. I played with Chris Mills, Khalid Reeves, Damon Stoudemire, Miles Simon, Mike Dickerson, Jason Terry. These guys would not be denied. They didn't care what junk gimmick defense you threw at them. They sat back and watched what you were doing and figured out a way to help the team. A lot of times they'd get the ball just to pass and then set some things up. But you're 1,000% right with Caleb Love. His confidence and how he can impact the game with his shot, he's got to realize there's not going to be any easy baskets, but he's got to turn a switch mentally and be the toughest guy on the floor for Arizona mentally. I don't care if he misses his first 6 shots. Caleb Love can make 4 in a row like nobody else in the country. So keep your eye on the prize and fight through the gimmicks, the junk defense, the trash talk, the physical play, the jersey grabbing. All of that is coming for you this season, Caleb. It's coming. Everybody's going to do it. If I was coaching against Arizona, that's what the hell I would do. If I was coaching against Arizona and Caleb Love got an open 3, somebody coming to sit down, because we talked about it all week. We watched film on it all week. He is going to get that kind of attention. And that's also how you show NBA scouts where you belong, how you handle that.
And not to like besmirch you at all, Corey. Definitely not trying to do that right now.
Using school words.
But what I am going to say is, listen, all those guys you mentioned at one point or another suffered, embarrassing losses in their U of A career, but they found a way to bounce back. and they found a way to bounce back tenfold by getting back to the Final Four or getting to a national championship or becoming an All-American, right? They all bounce back. Caleb Love, the one thing that I do love about him is it does not matter if he is 1 for 19. If there's 2 minutes left to go in the game and you need a big shot, and you know what it looks like on people's faces, Corey, when they don't really want to take that shot, right? They just, I just want to make the right play. No, dude. You were too scared to take that wide open shot. Caleb Love can never be criticized for that because he will take that big shot. He might miss it, but he's not afraid of the moment, and he will rise and take it. That's the thing I love about him. But I just need a little bit more consistency from Caleb. And to your point, you've got to find ways to impact the game other than just being hot every night. You've got to find different ways. And he hasn't been able to do that quite yet. I do have confidence that he will figure it out because, listen, how many times can you really get slapped in the face before you start ducking and dodging, right? At some point, you're going to start to move. I feel like he's about to start to move. At least I'm hopeful that he will.
Well, yeah, I mean, the easiest thing to do is guard a one-dimensional player. And Caleb Love is not a one-dimensional player. But when you get hung up on your percentages and your misses, you start to become that. That's the danger. I need to get my game together. I'm in a shooting slump or whatever. No, you got to change your mentality. We need to win. If my bigs eat, then I'm going to get threes. If I can get to the rim, then I'm going to get and ones and free throws. He's a tough, physical player. He's got multiple years of experience at the collegiate level. So he's got all the tools, great support. He'll be fine. In a game like the one coming up against Duke, it's going to be tough early for him to get looks. Now, if Duke makes defensive errors because they're incredibly young on the perimeter, they've got freshmen coming into McKale Center. We'll talk about that a little later. But there may be opportunities for him to eat Friday night against a team that may lose him from time to time defensively.
No, 1,000,000%. And again, we will talk about Duke for sure. And actually, we won't even wait. We're going to talk about Duke coming up after this break. Folks, you like my stylish hat right here? You know, like it's pretty sleek. It's got the little Branded Bills sign on the side. Like it's pretty dope, right? Oh, there it is. Branded Bills is one of the best hats in the game. You guys got to check it out. Premium headwear and apparel. And we're going to give you the opportunity to save some money by doing just that. 20% off by using promo code PHNX and get yourself some swag like this. I've got a white one. I've got a blue one. I got 2 white ones. One's camouflage, which I think is really cool. And then it has the old school logo. You guys have probably seen it when I've been on other things U of A related. So Branded Bills, they've got everything. Also, listen, if you're a small business owner and you want to get some merch and you're trying to get into that game, Branded Bills has got you covered. They will help you out. They will help you design something, and they will help fund your operation or supply your operation, I should say, not fund it. Supply your operation with, the nice merch that we have. And you can check them out at brandedbills.com. Is one of the best brands, up and coming brands. U of A is sponsored by them. So is that team up north. And then the Suns also. So like, listen, the best of the best wear that stuff outside of that team up here. And so you should be wearing it as well. So brandedbills.com, promo code PHNX, save yourself 20% off. Corey, I got to get you some swag, by the way.
That's our go-to brand. We use them over at the agency. Shout out Crest Insurance, Cody Ritchie. Branded Bills, our golf hats, all our stuff comes from them. Great company. Now, you just named off a bunch of hats, and I don't have none, so I'm going to be looking at my mailbox here in the next couple of days.
I literally just said I'm going to get you some swag, man.
I know. I'm going to hold you to it.
All right. But before we move on, listen, we talk about, we've been trying to break down some of the fundamental problems with some of the players and some of the concepts of the U of A basketball team. Corey, you are breaking down fundamentals for the young kids in Tucson through the Tucson Summer Pro League. You got an event coming up, don't you?
Well, we did. We have to postpone it, but we're going to probably do it in the spring. But yes, we're going to do basketball for beginners, kids 7 to 11 years old, boys and girls. So there's always those kids that are interested, but they've never had a chance to get started. This will be the camp for you. Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, if you know those young people that like basketball but haven't started playing, myself, Kelvin, Eafon, great player at U of A, both football and basketball, we are going to be teaching the fundamentals, a nice 2-day camp for the beginners. I mean, it's so advanced now with kids, with AAU and trainers and club. It's hard for a kid to jump in with kids who have years of experience on them. So we're just focusing on the newbies, the newcomers, spark that love, that passion for basketball, check us out, TucsonSPL.com, SPLsports.org. We were going to do the camp in December, but we had a scheduling conflict. So it'll most likely be after this season, and we'll try to do 2 or 3 of them before the summer starts. So basketball for beginners, keep that on your calendar for next spring.
Look at that. Corey loves the kids, and so do you. Make sure you support them. And if you have kids, bring them out. Listen, a little seam it, a little cock it, a little guide hand, bend my knees, shoot and follow through. Hey, everybody can learn from that, right? The fundamentals, right?
For sure. Your shot is like your fingerprint. You have it your whole life, and if you don't get it taught properly the first time, it's criminal. That's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
You got to get that jump shot working early at an early age.
Absolutely. All right, folks, let's get to it. The big game this weekend. We're all looking forward to it. It is the top matchup of the season. It's the best matchup we're probably going to get in McKale because Kansas ain't coming to town. We got some good matchups coming to McKale. Don't get me wrong. This is probably the best season of matchups in McKale history, I would probably argue, because we have a bunch of top 10 teams coming to McKale. But Duke is the headliner because of one, Cooper Flagg coming to McKale. Cooper Flagg, obviously freshman phenom, one of the top-rated prospects, expected to go, if not top overall, one of the top overall draft picks in this upcoming NBA draft. 17 years old. And Corey, this is a stat that blew me away. He literally leads in every single statistical category for Duke: points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. He does it all for them. He's phenomenal. Have you had a chance to take a look at his game? I have some notes. What do you think about Cooper Flagg?
When you see that stat line, you don't even need to watch tape, because what that stat line tells you is he's extremely active. He's got the height, he's got the finesse, he's got the skill, but you don't get steals, blocks, and assists by just standing around trying to score points. He sticks his nose in there. He crashes the glass. He boxes out. He is active. We're talking about a freshman at a blue blood that's going to play 32 to 35 minutes a game. He has to, in order for Duke to even be in the game. And even then, he's out there mixing it up. I love his motor. I love his heart. And he's got great skills. When he starts to tack experience and mix that in as the third ingredient, that young man's going to be phenomenal. But right now, to see somebody getting those heavy minutes and being that active, being all over the field, leading in those categories, it's just the mental desire and the mental toughness that he has to mix it up. He's not one of those prima donna freshmen who just wants to get his points and then head off to the NBA. He's out there in the trenches. And that's something that an opposing coach and an opposing program like Arizona, you got to be prepared for a kid like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, I talked about it at the beginning of the show. Like, one thing we're not going to do is we're not just trash a player because of who they play for. I respect Cooper Flagg because he's a baller. Like, he's an absolute hooper. He proved it when they were getting ready for the when the Olympic team was getting ready for the Olympics. He proved it in some of those Team USA matchups. You got guys like LeBron praising him. You got guys like KD talking about they were impressed with what he had. He's a phenomenal player. He's got a lot of good skill sets. However, if there's some weaknesses to his game, I will point them out right now. Number one, his dribble needs a little clean. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit. It needs a little bit of work. We saw that down the stretch against Kentucky. Got a little loose with the handle. And obviously that last play that basically sealed the game for Kentucky to win that, the dribble got away from him. Also, he has to find a secondary move. Right now, I don't think he's too confident in his jump shot yet. He's a good shooter, but he just hasn't developed that confidence yet in order to be able to pull whenever he wants. So what you'll see is a lot of times when he gets stuck, when he makes his first move and he goes and he gets cut off, he usually turns his back and makes a spin move to try and make something happen, which when you turn your back against the defense, if you have a good defense with good weak side help, what's that going to do, Corey? That's going to be a rip or a steal almost every single time, right?
Every time.
So those are the weaknesses that I see in his game right now, but they're subtle weaknesses. And as the season goes on, listen, I'll tell you right now, if Arizona plays Duke right now, and then they play Duke in the tournament, they better not be thinking it's the same team that they saw back in November, because that's not going to happen. This is going to be a different team because they have a lot of freshmen on that squad as well that are trying to contribute.
Cooper Flagg is probably the most complete freshman player I've seen in a long time. And you made some great points. Here's the crazy thing about Cooper Flagg. The things that he doesn't have aren't his fault. He doesn't have the experience and the intuition that comes with time. He doesn't have the great decision making that comes with time. There are so many things that are going to make him better. To your point, when they play later on in the season, he'll be a completely different player because he'll have more experience. He's not lacking the desire or the skill. He's lacking the experience, the decision making, the instincts, all that situational stuff that makes great players next level players. So
what's the hardest thing to coach? You can't coach it, really.
Yeah, you can't coach that instinct. You can't coach vision. When a kid knows what's going on and doesn't have to look over at the coaching staff to help him out of a jam. He analyzes it, he sees it, he self-corrects, and he keeps playing. That's, why coaches love upperclassmen, because they're already there mentally. It's kind of like actors being in a movie and you forget and you say line, and then somebody gives you you don't have time to ask for your line during a high leverage college basketball game. If you don't understand something, you turn it over, you make a bad read, that can be the difference in the game. So the things that he needs aren't even his fault. It's nothing he can't control right now. But here's something else I want to talk about. I want to take you inside the mind of a hooper. When you're playing high school ball and you go to a school like Duke or Arizona and you're a freshman, you have this expression, you have all this stuff in your bag. He's in his bag, blah, blah. Let me explain to you what happens to your bag. You lose 85% of your bag. All that crap you was doing in high school that worked, it doesn't work when you get to college. So your crab dribble where you're backing the guy down, he's not backing down the fours at Arizona. He's not backing down Toby Friday night. He's not backing down Townsend Friday. It's not going to happen. So, like, to your point, what else do you got? And that is very psychologically stressful for all freshmen. When 85% of your bag just disappears and you got to find another way to be effective because you're the headliner, the whole program's riding on you. Every good coach in Division I basketball can frustrate a freshman for 40 minutes. It's not that hard. It happens all the time. Tommy Lloyd will do that to the freshmen of Duke. How they respond to the atmosphere, the gimmicks, the pressure, the scheme. They've got a great program. They're well coached. That first 10 minutes is going to be a rock fight. I don't think it's going to be pretty on either side. But he's going to have to go to a second, third move. He's going to have to stay locked in, not get rattled. I think he's capable of doing that. But to your point, Saul, I watched Kentucky walk them down the last 5 minutes of that game. Duke should have won that game, but they just let Kentucky make play after play after play after play. And I turned and I thought, that's just experience. Hopefully for the Wildcats, that inexperience plays big for us Friday and we get the win. But a young team, sometimes kids don't know any better and they come out and play on a whole nother level, and sometimes they struggle. But we'll see Friday for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And, to everybody asking who's going to guard him, who's going to guard him, who's going to guard him, my feel on this is I would rather somebody that was athletic, strong, and had good defensive IQ. If you're going to play up on them on the perimeter, and you're going to need the help every now and then, obviously. Now, Duke has some good shooters, and we're talking about them in a second. But I would probably prefer somebody like a KJ Lewis. And before anybody sits there and, well, KJ's, he's not tall enough. Like, you can't. We just saw Kentucky have a smaller player that was physically stout enough to be able to hold up against Cooper Flagg when he tried to back him down. And most times, especially in the second half, he got the best of him. It is possible if you have a smart, intelligent basketball player. And I do believe KJ Lewis is of that ilk. And so I would have loved to seen somebody like Carter Bryant, but I don't think Carter Bryant is necessarily ready for that moment quite yet. But listen, in a pinch, I wouldn't be surprised if Carter Bryant got a minute or two on him to see how it goes. And maybe Tommy just says, hey, you know what? That was pretty good. A couple possessions. Let's let it ride out. But I don't know if I'm going to see that too much on Saturday. So I would opt for KJ Lewis, a predominant most of the time.
I'm going to go a different route on this.
Okay. Let me hear it.
I want Trey Townsend on Cooper Flagg.
Okay.
You're a fifth-year senior, 6'6", 235. There's no post-ups. This kid can't even get in the paint against you. You've been in the weight room for 5 years. I need you to go out here and punk this freshman in McKale Center Friday night. I don't even care what you do on offense. I want him to feel you on him all night. A fifth-year senior in a high leverage moment with all his experience, stay out of foul trouble, but I need you to wear him down. I need him to get the message early on. There's no layups in McKale Center. There's no dunks in McKale Center. You're 18. He's 22, 23 years old. He needs to feel that 5-year difference, and he needs to feel it for 40 minutes. That's what I would do. But then again, I don't get paid the big bucks. So who knows what we're going to see. But if it was me and we were in the gym playing pickup, oh, yeah. Trey, you got him. You got the kid. You got the youngster. Body him up and send the message early. And even if you pick up two fouls in the first 16, if you got 2 fouls at halftime, that's fine. Just don't have 3. But no layup. There's got to be a no layup, no dunk rule in effect.
Oh, yeah.
Opening 10 minutes of the game because the crowd's going to be bananas. And if you make it physical, sometimes when it gets out of hand, the refs just tuck the whistle and let it go. Whatever happens, happens. And that's the kind of game you want to force.
Oh man, Kevin, you know what we needed? We needed a no easy buckets graphic right there. We needed a Kevin Parham, no easy buckets right there. That would have been perfect right there. Yeah, Saturday, no easy buckets. I totally agree, Corey. That is definitely got to happen. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just wanted to hop in and say, as the producer, we will get a no easy buckets going for some sort of segment because that's a genius idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plants all
no
day.
easy buckets.
Let's get that going immediately.
There we go. And before we do transition to the matchups, listen, there's 3 other guys on Duke that you got to pay attention to. Kevin, when we're talking about those 3 other guys, we're talking about Kneppel with Cont Kneppel. We're talking about Maluak, and we're talking about Proctor. These guys can score. Maluak is 7'2", and he is a problem at the rim. Now, again, he didn't do a lot of damage against Kentucky, but he's defensively, he's okay. Again, you see freshman tendencies from him. This is where you need your bigs to kind of extend, at least play at the free throw line, just to pull them away from the basket just a little bit. And I think they can take advantage of him, especially if these guys can hit that mid-range or even the 3. Like you hit a couple threes, I think you're going to extend them out, and then it's a total game changer. Kentucky didn't really have that. Arizona does, in my opinion. So I think that's one. Kneppel, you can't leave him open. That dude's like a knockdown 3-point shooter. He's an automatic 3, in my opinion. He's a Wisconsin State high school basketball champion, I think 3 times in a row. Like the kid can shoot, and he's one of their go-to scorers.
I mean, let's keep it real. All right. Duke's coming into this game. They go 7 deep, 7.5, 8 deep. You got a bunch of freshmen who have to play almost 30 minutes. Bruh, we putting you on an island from the opening tip. I want to see Bradley going downhill. I want to see KJ going one-on-one, Caleb going one-on-one. They either got to foul you or let you score because they can't get 2 fouls in the first 10 minutes. They get 2 fouls in the first 10 minutes, their whole team changes. You got freshmen coming into McKale. You got experienced perimeter players who are unbelievable athletes, straight attack mode. I wouldn't even have no plays if I was Tommy Lloyd. I'd be like 1-4 low, 1-4 low. Can you guard? Did they teach you how to guard in the 3 months that you've been at Duke? I don't think so. I'd put them on islands. I would put so much defensive pressure on them that they'd have to go zone because you got the dogs to do it. You got guys who can get to the rack. So if you sit back and let a freshman who's got exactly 3 weeks of college basketball under his belt, if you're sitting out there letting him survive and you're not testing them, you're not doing, I mean, maybe I'm old school. Maybe things have changed, but I'm certainly putting you on blast in McKale Center Friday night.
For those of you watching on Samsung and all our other platforms, go ahead and switch on over to gophnx.com to catch the rest of this. For those of you who are not, hey, we continue and we ride out. And I agree with you, Corey. Like, listen, I think I agree with the freshman perspective on that. Now, when you're talking about their other player, and the name escapes me. Bring up that graphic one more time, Kevin. Appreciate you. There it is. Proctor. Yeah, Proctor. I don't know why I was having a brain fart on that. Tyrese Proctor. He's a good all-around player. He can shoot from the perimeter. He can attack the rim. He's kind of their second or third option in terms of offense. Kneppel, to me, Kneppel's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's a really good player. Kneppel's not the kind of guy, in my opinion, that can just take over a game with his skill set. Like, he's more of a spot-up shooter right now. He'll develop that as he goes along. But he's a knockdown. He's one of the best shooters in college basketball. Don't get me wrong. but I don't see him like if Cooper Flagg gets in foul trouble, they're not going to go 1-4 high like Corey said and go with Kneppel at the top. Like that's not happening. So because KJ Lewis is too good of a defender for somebody like that. So is Jaden Bradley. Like there's a mismatch there defensively for Kneppel right now at this time of his career. But everybody else can help out, and they have a good team. They have a good team. Listen, this is going to be a great game. But let's talk about the matchups, Corey. Let's go 1 through 5 and who we think should be matched up where and who we think has the advantage. So, Kevin, bring up right here. This is it. This is what we call ball up top. All right, ball up top. For those of you on the playground, if you've ever played on the playground, you understand. Hey, ball up top means we're about to get this game started. We're checking the ball, and so here we go. This is my 5 versus your 5. Jaden Bradley versus Caleb Foster. Who gets that, Corey?
I'm gonna give it to JB. JB, he's a dog. He played well at Wisconsin. He was the only player who wasn't hesitating. He wasn't being selfish, but he was just locked in. I think that's going to continue, especially Friday night against the home crowd. He knows he can get to the rim. He knows who he's playing against. I think we have the slight advantage at that position. So I would definitely give that check to Arizona.
Oh, I don't think it's slight. I think he absolutely dog walks him in this game because Jaden Bradley is that dude.
I didn't want to say that. I'm glad you
I can say it. I will say it. Like, hey, listen, Caleb Foster, I'm sure you're a nice young man, but you're about to be in the house of Bradley, and that is not a fun place to be. I promise you that. All right. The second spot that we're going to, the shooting guard position, Caleb Love versus Tyrese Proctor. It depends on what Caleb Love decides to show up in this one. Who you got, Corey?
You know, I'm going to go with Caleb Love. I mean, he's definitely tough as nails. He's going to bounce back from the Wisconsin game. I'm sure they watch film. This is going to be redemption. He was the man last year at Duke in that game, played well. So I think he's going to show out again against Duke at home. He's going to right some of the wrongs, and it could be a long night defensively for the guy that has to chase him around, because I don't think he's going to be satisfied or hunting threes. He's going to be trying to play a complete game.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I think Caleb Love went to North Carolina. He hates Duke. He understands what Duke means. He doesn't like them at all. So Caleb Love in this matchup, I like that as well. All right, we got the 3 position right now at small forward. KJ Lewis versus Kneppel. All right. This is an interesting one. Athletically, versatility-wise, the edge, in my opinion, goes to KJ Lewis. I think from a momentum standpoint, if you slip up against Duke, and you let this dude go off, it could be a very, very dangerous night. But I also am going to give the edge to KJ Lewis. What about you, Corey?
There's no question the edge goes to KJ Lewis, but Kneppel is so good. He can eat if you leave him. Turnover in transition, he runs to the corner 3. Bang. Turnover, easy layup. You got a double and nobody rotates to him. Bang. Point guard breaks you down. We have to swing over and rotate, and they kick it. Like, when you leave him, he's going to eat. If you can stay in his jersey, KJ Lewis can contain him. He's not going to beat KJ Lewis off the bounce. That's not happening. But what he is going to do is go wherever the defense isn't and make Arizona pay. So you've got to stay locked in. Everybody on Arizona has to stay in front of their man. You can't have situations where you get beat, because if you get beat, then we're picking up fouls at the rim and we're giving up open looks, maybe layups, dunks, alley-oops, or wide open threes. That's the kind of stuff you can't have. Keep your man in front and contest.
All right, so we got a question in the chat real quick before we move on to the next point. JL Roman Jr. says, how does Kneppel play off the ball? So, here, you know what? This is going to be live. We're going to try this. I'm going to try this. I didn't plan on doing this, but this is what I'm going to do, all right? So, let's talk about this for a second, all right? This is what they used to do. You know, remember in the middle of practice, they used to be like, all right, guys, this is what we're going to do, right? So we got the key right here. We got the 3-point line right here, right? One of the things that they're going to try and do, right? Duke, they'll have Kneppel right here in this corner, and then they'll have him kind of zigzag and come over here. And what's going to happen is the ball will rotate over here, and Kneppel will fade to the corner, and he'll take a shot over here in that corner. Watch that happen a couple times for that to happen, especially if U of A does mix up and go zone. He's going to fade to those corners off of screens because that's what he likes to do. Or he's just going to straight up play off the ball and just wait for guys to collapse. Last week against Wisconsin, a couple times, Jaden Bradley, KJ Lewis, 2 of our best defenders, they got caught sleeping a couple times back door. Okay. One time led to a 3, another time wide open layup, right? And these are small things that can be cleaned up, right? Communication behind you, watch your right, pick, whatever, right? And that comes with a little bit of time as the season goes on. So these are the small things that I feel like will improve as the season goes on. But right now, in game number 4 of the season, I don't really know what to expect and how much they were able to clean up from one week to the next. So I'm interested to see that. All right, the force. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
Oh, just real quick, it ties back into what we're talking about, bread and butter basketball. What are you doing offensively? If you're Knuppel, I'm going to make sure my defender is always in a situation where he has another responsibility. I'm going to move to the part of the court where he's the help man. I'm going to move to the part of the court where he has to decide, does he give up the layup and the dunk, or does he stay with me? Those are the ways you scheme yourself open off the ball. Being a shooter, everything's not going to be a bunch of double and stagger screens for you. Sometimes you just have to put your defensive player in a bad spot and then go to the open spot and hope your teammates find you. And that's exactly what they do. Those pick and rolls, those rotations, they set him away from the ball. So now you've got to choose. You give up the 4-foot layup or the 20-foot jumper. Either one, Duke can convert at a high percentage.
I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. The first play of the game for Duke. Since I got the chalkboard out, I'm going to just use it, right? First play of the game for Duke. Knuppel's going to come around these screens over here to the corner. Ball's going to find its way to Cooper Flagg, who's going to come off a screen right here. He's going to hand the ball off, and then this man's going to come up, and he's going to fake and come up to the edge. Knuppel is going to be the one that comes all the way around, sets the screen. Cooper Flagg, backdoor alley-oop. That's going to be the first play of the game, just so you all know, and you heard it here first. That's exactly how that's going to go. So I saw that their first 3 games. I'd be shocked if they didn't try to do it for the 5th. Okay. So, all right. And then finally, let's go to the last 2 positions. At the 4 spot, we got Cooper Flagg versus Trey Townsend. Listen, I love Trey. If Trey balls out, I think he could win this matchup, but I'm going to give it to Cooper Flagg because I'm not trying to be silly like that. Cooper Flagg is that dude.
Cooper could have the better stat line of the 2 players, but there's that impact 20, 25 points that matters. And then there's that 20 points you score, and Arizona ended up winning by 16. So it's up to Trey which 25 Cooper gets. Does he get them early when it matters? Does he get them late in the game when it's tight? Or does Arizona lock down for 30 minutes and his stat line doesn't matter because the game is in hand? He has a different responsibility than Trey Townsend. Trey Townsend has to score, be on the glass, be a team player, and it has a lot of different responsibilities. Cooper can – his light isn't even a green light. It's like a neon green light, like the freaking light at Krispy Kreme when they drop new. His light's always on. Like he has to shoot. He has to shoot end of possession shots where the shot clock's winding down. He's got to shoot quick shots. He will never be taken off the court for shooting the ball. There will
be no Cooper Flagg glazing on this podcast.
Oh, those are the worst people to guard because you know the dude can do anything you want, and you're looking at coach like, yo, I can't believe he got to shoot a turnaround 3 with 2 seconds to go, and he made it. But that's what he can do when you're the go-to guy. So Trey's gonna have his hands full. Where Trey can win is wear him down, make him less effective, shoot a lower percentage. He's still gonna get his buckets, but make it ugly for him.
All right. And finally, at the 5 spot, Toby Awaka, Kaman Maluak. I also would even make, Krivas and Vasar as part of that 4 and 5 rotation as well. In my opinion, Arizona has to win that center position to win this game. They have to be more effective than Duke down low. If Maluak has anything more than 10 points, I might just pull all my hair out because I just can't see that. I don't want to see that. I better not happen. That dude should not be catching lobs at the rim all game long. So Krivas and company, Awaka's physical enough, but the size difference, 7'2" versus 6'9", that is significant. And he's got length on him. So it's going to be a little bit of a problem, but I have confidence in the bigs. I will give the edge to the bigs.
You know, the kid from Duke, he's 7 feet tall. He's a rim runner. Toby's arm weighs more than that kid's whole body. But if Toby has to leave him because somebody got beat on a penetration, then it's lobs to the rim and it's dunks, and this kid is a factor because body to body, he's not going to beat you. Toby's way too strong. He can keep him out the paint. He can shoot over Toby. Okay, fine. But the rim running, the putbacks, when guys get beat defensively, Toby's night becomes a nightmare because he's got to leave a 7-footer and then all hell breaks loose. Bounce passes for dunks, pocket passes, pick and rolls. If guys don't D up on the perimeter, the 7-footer will kill you all game long. But if you keep your guy in front and all Toby has to do is turn and box this kid out, he'll be just fine. So the rim running, turnovers, another thing. Toby can't be beat. This kid runs like a deer. I mean, as soon as they get the ball, he's taking off. So don't turn over the ball. Limit your live ball turnovers. Give Toby a chance to use his strength against the 7-footer. Keep him in the paint, and things will be nice and clean. But if you get beat out front, we'll pay for it on the back end with the dunks and all of that. Or maybe Toby's got to pick up cheap fouls, fouling other people's guys because guys aren't D'ing up out front.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, man, this is going to be a great game. I know you're excited to watch it, Corey. I'm excited to watch this. It's going to be fantastic. Duke coming back to McKale for the first time since the 80s, since Coach K and Lute, the best to ever do it, came to McKale. It's a different day and age in that arena nowadays with the aesthetics and the beauty that is McKale. So it's going to be fun to watch premier talent all across the board. And we appreciate you, the premier fans in Tucson, watching this show. And I hope you enjoyed it. This is what you're going to get week in, week out. Corey and I really wanted to do this. We really wanted to bring in some insight and some basketball talk for you hoop heads. We will talk women's basketball at some point in time. I don't know if anybody's got the update. I haven't looked at my phone. Last time I saw they were kind of neck and neck with NAU. So hopefully they were able to pull it out.
That's not good. That's not good.
That's not good at all. But Wednesday nights here, 7:00, except for next week. Next week it will be on Tuesday because Wednesday Arizona plays, so we can't have both. So on next Tuesday, 7:00, and make sure you once again you hit that like button, you subscribe, follow my guy at College Corey on both Instagram and also on Twitter. You can follow me at Saul_Bookman, and you can follow the pod at PHNX_Wildcats. Until next time, bear down.
We all silly like